Hello, folks. Welcome to today's Human Music stream. And I'm sorry I'm late. I'm about an hour and 20 minutes late. So maybe my usual suspects will have given up waiting for me. And I apologize for that in case you're watching it a little bit afterwards. And the reason I'm late is because it's my birthday today. I'm turning 50 years old. Yeah, I don't believe it either. It's uh, it's pretty crazy to think about. When I was younger, 50 was like, wow, old, you know? And now that I'm 50, I honestly don't feel much older than I did when I was, I don't know, 30, you know? I mean, certain things, sure, the body doesn't quite react the same way, but other than that, I mostly still feel as childish as I was when I was younger, still full of curiosity and wonder and desire to learn and share and interact and all of that. So, yeah. So, thank you for joining, and those of you who did and are able to at the moment. And without further ado, we had been working on this tune of mine that I wrote about 20, probably 28 years ago or so when I was still in college at the New England Conservatory in Boston. I went there for the third stream, aka Contemporary Improvisation Department slash program, which is a improvisation program not focused on jazz. So jazz is included, of course, but third stream is meant to be kind of something between jazz and classical, where you train yourself as a musician. You train those skills that are necessary to improvise without necessarily the heavy weight towards the bebop vocabulary, towards the jazz vocabulary. So it's a place for flamenco improvisers, free improvisers, uh, jazz improvisers who want to not limit themselves to that genre specifically. And hey, Matupa, still a kid, right? Hey, I'm glad you were able. I know it's very late for you, my man. So I'm especially appreciative and thankful that you were able to join today. Thank you very much, and thanks for wishing me a happy birthday. And many more years. Thank you. Yeah, hopefully I'll be able to be a little better at taking care of my health. I'm not, one to do a bunch of exercise and eat super healthy or anything like that. I give in to my laziness and earthly pleasures. Uh, it's taken a bit of a toll. I have high blood pressure, so other than that, I'm mostly okay, I think, as far as I know. So yeah, hopefully let's make it a new personal New Year's resolution of mine to take better care of my diet and exercise. Make sure I last a good long time more, and so I can continue creating cool sounds for the world. I saw your Instagram photo, half a century still acting like a kid. That's right. Hey, David. Feliz cumpleaños, says David Kaiser. Thank you so much, my friend. This is very nice. I'm gonna. So I'm late because it being my birthday. My girls and my wife and my mom is all here all the way over from Brazil, especially for my 50th birthday, which is quite a milestone for her. Can you imagine having a 50-year-old child? And she's only 72 herself. She was very young when she had me, and still very healthy and jovial as well. And anyway, so let's talk about music. We were working on this tune that I wrote about 28 years ago when I was at the New England Conservatory. And it's a tune that kind of arose spontaneously. It's not something I intentionally composed. It's just, sometimes you start doodling Ah, Clube do Jingle. Fábio, abraço, cara. Thank you very much for wishing me. Fabio is one of my oldest friends. We've been playing music since we both started, probably around when we were 13 or something. So that's been a while. That's been, almost 40 years now. And anyway, so I was working. This is a doodle. So, sometimes you pick up your instrument and you always kind of doodle the same thing. You play something nice that you came up with that you like. And eventually it starts to evolve. And then, at some point you notice that you have a song. And this one I never recorded until just now. I got my bass back from the luthier, and it's perfect now. It's adjusted just how I like it as far as the action. It's got a brand new ebony fingerboard, brand new pickup on it, and it got everything that was wrong with it got fixed. So it's the best bass I could probably have. And yesterday we recorded a guide track with that bass over me snapping. Actually I just sampled myself snapping my fingers 3 times and created this little bit of a snap, right? And then I played some drums and a little bit of piano. The piano track is just I was just kind of like getting a feel for what it sounds like, but it sounds very out of tune because I played the bass a cappella without any kind of pitch reference other than the open strings, and I'm really out of shape on the upright. So what I'm thinking, in order to continue composing over this guide track, one idea, one interesting idea would be to melodyne it. And who knows, maybe it even sounds good enough melodyne that I don't have to re-record it, and we can preserve that initial first take. This will be quite a test for melodyne because low frequencies are particularly difficult to pitch correct, and to do so transparently, where it's not obvious. That's quite a thing, quite a challenge. So what can I do? Well, I think one thing that I can do is let's create a single track out of these bass tracks, because right now it's two. It's the DI and the microphone. So if I have an idea that might work. Stereo auxiliary sub bass track, and then we route both bass channels to that. Track sub bass, and I don't mean sub bass as in sub-audible frequencies. I think you know what I mean. Simply a submix of both bass channels, right? And there's the song, right? So piano still record enabled. I'm gonna mute it. Now I think maybe if I choose the sub bass track and apply the commit, um, it might create an audio track that includes. And it did. Wow, that worked. Awesome. Normally I would have to, hit play and record into another track. So now we can hide and make inactive. Hide and make inactive. You see, the tracks are still here, but they're not visible and they're disabled, so they're not taking up any computing, DSP, digital signal processing. So they're still there. I can still go back to those tracks if I need to or want to. And but now we have a single stereo track, which I might not have needed to make stereo, but since the channel outputs are stereo, so in order to make run them into a sub without summing them into mono, which might change the level, it just made more sense to do that with and so I'm gonna hang the Melodyne on here. I've been watching a lot of videos about this guy called Giacomo Tura. Has been caught. He's an Instagram guitarist who got super caught and shamed for two crimes. One, one forgivable and one unforgivable. The forgivable crime is that he fakes his performances. So he actually records like slow tempo and then speeds it up, quantizes it, cleans it up, and then pretends he mimics them, his performances on Instagram. And that's I'm doing the same thing here. I'm fixing things up, but I'm doing it right in front of you guys, and I'm not mimicking afterwards. I'm not pretending like I played perfectly. Um, I'm not trying to like say that I'm better than anybody, but it's just pointing out a difference. And but what also Giacomo was doing is he was going into other YouTubers' older videos that not even they remembered, much better, more talented musicians than himself, and he would transcribe their solos, and those would be the ones that he would, construct in the DAW and then mimic himself playing. So he wasn't even his own ideas. He was stealing ideas and selling tablature and stuff. So Adam Neely made a video about the idea of mimicking and faking performances, which is something even genius musicians have been doing forever. Sometimes you just need to promote an album, and your TV appearance doesn't make it easy to play live. So you might as well, even being Wes Montgomery, who's amazing, it might be more practical in that context to just mimic a previous performance. So the very interesting video by Adam Neely. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Then Rick Beato even is a huge music YouTuber. He weighed in. He said Giacomo even showed up and recorded a bit of a video and he didn't think he was good enough to publish. He didn't publish Giacomo's video, and that got me thinking, about what I'm doing. I'm faking as well. Oh, Metupa has to go because it's so late, I know. Hey, Breeze, welcome, my friend. I'm glad you were able to join. I'm so sorry I'm so late today. My wife and daughters took me, and my mom was here, especially for my birthday. They took me to brunch, and then I needed to get some bookshelves for the studio, and that made me real late, and I won't be able to stay too long here today because, as you can imagine, I have family like waiting around to celebrate me. But I didn't want to miss out. I didn't want to skip the stream completely, because I miss you guys. You guys are important for me now. Hey, Blessed Watkins, beef sector subby. I wonder what that means, beef sector subby. Does that mean you make videos about the beef sector of the economy and you use my music, perhaps? Hoofjaw, hi. Thank you for wishing me a happy birthday. Wow, this is so nice. I'm so glad I found the time to come in here and stream for you guys, despite my engagements, my birthday. I think in the afternoon, my wife apparently bought a cake for me, and I'm guessing she probably invited a couple of very close, like family and friends, to enjoy the cake with us. We'll see. Oh, I'd be happy with just her and my mom and my daughters. I wish my son was here. He wasn't able to come this time. Is it? Yeah. See, sometimes you don't see the little circle on Melodyne, and it doesn't look like it's actually gonna work. But yeah, apparently it is. See, now you can see. And I can already tell I'm super out of tune. Like, when I was playing, it felt like I was playing okay. But then when I put my producer hat on and just listen to the take, you can definitely tell my intonation is far from accurate. The sound is good, so I feel like my right hand plucking is pretty good. Articulation is pretty good. It's mostly the intonation. So this has that kind of Pink Panther, old Mancini spy movie kind of a vibe, maybe Peter Gunn. Peter Gunn is more electric, right? Has that guitar, which might be a cool element. Maybe even my bass six, which is a guitar tuned an octave lower that Fender used to make. They still make it actually. That thing has quite a 60s like kind of surf western vibe. I think the piano, when I tried it yesterday, felt really nice. There's another song that comes to mind, which Mother, what that there? Or Daddy, what that there? What that there? I think Horace Silver Quartet play that, or maybe it wasn't even a quartet, it was a bigger group. Y'all know that jazz tune, What That There? So cool. So there's In Walked Bud by Thelonious Monk. There's this descending chromatic thing that makes it kind of mysterious. Like my daughter said, this is mystery jazz. I think mystery jazz is a good genre for it. Yes, we use your music. I watched you on Sir King. Oh, Blessed Watkins, right, I remember you. I remember that Sir King interview I did about my controversial song that has been used a lot by your community. Cool. People from all different walks of life are joining us today. My 50th birthday. And nostalgically, as I turn 50, I'm arranging a tune I composed when I was in my early 20s, probably like 22 or even younger, 21 perhaps. And right now we're just waiting for Melodyne to take in all of the notes. And we're gonna see if we can tune this up so it serves better as a guide track, or even perhaps if I do a good enough job and Melodyne is transparent enough, we can maybe even use this take, despite my horrible intonation. Breeze says something Fever comes to mind. Right, Fever is another perfect example of that vibe that I'm going for here. So we could go a little more electric, like Peter Gunn, by using some kind of old school guitar with tremolo and lots of reverb. What I call surf western, I think of old western soundtracks by Ennio Morricone, as well as surf rock music. Both have a similar, like, twangy, wet guitar kind of a feel. So I kind of conflate the two. And I might do an album of that, genre, surf western. Have some like Mexican style trumpets too. Like really like lean into to both ideas. Surf and western, which is like almost opposed, right? Because when you think of western, you think of desert, you think of these ghost towns in the middle of Arizona or something. But I guess California is the west too. I could imagine some cowboys surfing instead of riding horses. That'd be interesting. Anyway, I talked the whole time. I didn't let you guys hear the song. Maybe because I'm embarrassed about my intonation. Right. So the last note is a double stop. So it's two notes together. So now here, this is weird. I'm supposed to be seeing the notes placed where they would go. Melodyne is still a bit of a mystery to me. I've been using it for over a decade, and it still sometimes causes confusion for me. But one thing I can do is go ahead and automatically fix pitch center and pitch drift. which will approximate, everything. But sometimes if I'm too far out of tune, the Melodyne will understand. Um, oh boy, what do I need to do to be able to see these notes? Right? I can still move them up and down, but they're not showing like they should show the up and down movement, right? If higher pitch notes higher up and lower pitch notes. I don't know. Let's see. Zoom tool. No, that's not it. Uh, Select all options. Does anybody who knows Melodyne know what I need to do to be able to? Let's see. Maybe I'll close the window and reopen it. Mm, I don't know what I need to do. Pitch center, pitch drift. Okay. This is a groove. Make notes louder, quieter. Loud notes quieter and quiet notes louder. Interesting. I didn't even know of this function. I guess it's sort of like a kind of compression. Options. Show keys? No. Show chords? No. Anybody knows this? Something fever comes to mind. Yeah, I guess. No, that's not it. Note assignment too. Oh boy. Note editor. Show pitch curve. Note assignment mode. No. I feel like I'm getting better. Note editor. Show note separations. No. Huh. All right, I might have to just go to the internet. Right. It's always faster to do a quick search than it is to like search around the software. So we're not gonna we're not gonna show note separations right now. Maybe I just need to quit and open again. Oh no, I never saved this as proper. It got it kept the name uh, of my template. We need to save this as save session as Spy Jazz. I think it's an accurate name for it right now. And later I'll change the name of the folder here on my human music folder. Okay, so let's quit Pro Tools because this has been open since yesterday. And so we'll restart Pro Tools. Maybe that's, sometimes when you don't know what to do, I found that out early on. Like, oftentimes we'd be at the studio where I started working, like trying to fix some issue. At some point, we'd give up and call the boss, call Kaká, Carlos Lima, genius engineer from Brazil, was our total studio boss. Sometimes he would just walk in and the computer would be like, oh, and it would start working immediately. And sometimes he would just be like, give it a restart. And we just like literally restart the machine or restart Pro Tools and things would work. Uh, Essential information, tricks, tips. No, I don't want to. I don't want this quick start guide. Okay, so that didn't work. Let me just go to the internet. And we're gonna search and say Melodyne not showing notes. Uh, Maybe just that. Not showing pitch. close down the editor. I don't know. Clancy clip notes in editor. I don't think that's it. Maybe it's it. As you said, you write editor region, you can't just select another clip. Disappear editor by hitting D. I don't know. This is weird. I used Melodyne the other day and it was fine. I could see everything. Let's see. Restore original. Good. Let's try a search with a different description. So we're gonna say Melodyne showing all notes on a single line. It's always a single horizontal line. It's likely due to an incorrect algorithm setting or the software not recognizing the audio as melodic. Melodic. Hold on. Algorithm. It says universal. Let's go to melodic. Redetect. Boom! That was it. Thank you once again, Google. Fixed it for me. There we go. So now we can, what's the key, right? What's the key we're in? Maybe we can make it fit the key and that'll help too. Well, there's always that flat fifth there, the tritone. It's kind of like a blues scale. It's like a D blues. It says D minor right here. Let's just try the D minor. We'll go back here and say snap to chord scale. Okay, I think that might have helped approximate things. Oh, let's get rid of the edit options. Note editor. No grid. We want pitch grid, no snap. So I can use my ear and move some notes. Dun, do, dun. Right? Maybe I should do a guide piano track. Yeah, you know. John BEDM says, happy birthday, Kinkas. Thank you so much, John. Thanks for joining. Today's going to be a little bit of a shorter stream because I started super late because I was brunching with the family. And basically, we're Probably all we'll get done is this is tuning up this bass track. Um, so yeah, maybe I should try just recording the piano. A piano guide track to serve as a reference to tune the bass. So in that case, I'm just going to let the drums and the snaps, everything sound. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, let's open a playlist on the piano here, so that we don't lose that piano take that I did yesterday. G minor there. Let's play the major chord. Let's open this in the editor. And now I'm going to delete these two notes here and just start again. There it goes. Let's try that. Play the wrong note there again. It's supposed to be D. Let's continue. All right, let's fix a couple things here. I played a really bad note around here somewhere. At random, you turned 50 this year too. Cool. 1975 for the win. And who else is talking to me here? Dr. DJR saying happy birthday. LJ saying happy birthday. Thanks, folks. Twin Cities, happy birthday, Young Buck. I wish. So yeah, those who are just joining, we're trying to tune this bass, which I played with horrible intonation. We're using Melodyne and a piano guide track. I started with just the Melodyne and felt like I needed some help. So we're doing this piano guide track of the melody here. Yeah, this is... Right, it's a natural, B natural. No improvising yet, Kinkas. Stick to the melody here. It's the hardest thing for me. I want to start going. That's what I want to do. But this is a functional piano track here. We're not a performance yet. This kind of chord here. Yeah, later I'll figure out what the this altered chord at the end is supposed to be. So I think I did okay. I think I was trying different octaves, but I think that it does work better in the lower octave for the function at hand. So we're gonna bring the whole upper octave portion of this down. So transpose, that's in event operations transpose. Again, that's a option T for next time. It takes me to try sometimes to remember these shortcuts. Oh no, we wanted it octave lower. -1 octave, apply. All right, and we'll go ahead and instead of going through it and making sure it's okay, we're gonna go ahead and start the tuning procedure. And if I have to fix something about the piano, I will just go and do it. So let's open up the Melodyne track on the bass here. And now that we have a piano guide track, let's okay, we need to do a couple of things. One of them is turn down the piano a little bit so we hear more of the bass. right? Also, this piano is a little out of tune because I made it so it sounds more honky tonk. So let's actually go to a cleaner piano sound because for this purpose, we do want it to be pristine and perfectly tuned, right? Breeze, Kinkas, what happens if you just quantize your audio in Melodyne? I did do that, Breeze. But since I'm doing lots of slides and scoops, sometimes Melodyne doesn't know like which part of a slide is meant to be the target note. So that's why it's deserving of a second pass with a reference, right? Sometimes if I played far enough out of tune, it'll recognize the wrong note entirely. So that's what we're doing here. When I did this, Breeze, when I went over here, where's Melodyne? I went over here at some point and I selected everybody and I went to this page here. Pitch center and pitch drift, see? And looks like it can bet a little better still. But I did do that at some point earlier. And so that already mostly quantized to pitch. But now we need to make sure because Melodyne is really good at being transparent, which sometimes means it doesn't quite nail. It's not like auto-tune that makes everything sound like a synthesizer, you know. So let's see this note. That was wrong, right? Another thing is, for some reason, I can't just like select a spot in Melodyne and play from there. It always goes based on the Pro Tools selection. So I have to keep like part of my edit screen visible on Pro Tools. I'm sure there's a better way to do this, but this is just how I do it. And it's working, so I keep doing it. Here, this note is wrong. Right, also because this is like a blue note, right? It's a note that's outside of the normal minor scale. So Melodyne wanted to force that note into just plain D minor, but that's a flat 5 on the melody there. I guess if I program the chords some way, I'm sure there's a way to do that too. I'm a very basic Melodyne user, you know, I just grab notes and move them by ear. There's so many more functions that I'm probably underusing it. I should probably study it at some point, but I'm always too busy working to study, except for one thing at a time that I'm really obsessed about. Like right now, I'm studying the hell out of the bass. So I don't have time to study Melodyne, you know. I'll just use Melodyne how I know how to use it, which is kind of, but it does the job. It does the job. At random. Hey Breeze, cheers from Den Helder. I've been in Den Helder. Okay, don't judge us too quickly. Cool. It's lovely to see you guys bantering there. Yeah, there's another couple of bad notes here. Let me just focus on this, folks. I'll get back to checking the chat in a bit. So is that note. So is that blue note. Almost a little bit higher. Hold on. Oh yeah, I skipped ahead by mistake. To go back a little bit. A little back more. There we go. That would be nice, right? To have some jazz. Some like maybe the beat poet is like, jive and listen to the song and still has the microphone. So far, I'm impressed with the sound quality of Melodyne. Like most other pitch correction tools you might use for on an upright bass, just kill the tone, And here, yeah, it's doing a really, really awesome job. I think we might be able to preserve this pristine initial a cappella take that I did, and not have to re-record the bass. That would be super cool. Although maybe I'll try to just perform it better, just for practice too, for myself to feel like the final take isn't all like pitch corrected stuff. Sometimes that makes a difference, a subtle difference in the end result. There's one little note here. It should be higher. There we go. There it goes. this note right here. Dum, do. So these little chromaticisms, see, Melodyne will miss those unless I did chromatic rather than using the scale, but then it would probably gotten even more things wrong. So kind of have to do either way. You have things to fix. I think this way is fewer things to fix. It'll mostly be that blue note. Maybe I could even program that scale to include that blue note. But I want to go through this anyway. There are little details sometimes that Melodyne doesn't quite get it, so it's worth a pass, a manual pass, regardless. That's a good question, Breeze. He's asking if I could drag it up to an octave or so and see if it holds up to quality. It surprisingly does in my experience. Let's see. Write this down. This might be too much for it, right? But surprisingly, it still sounds like an upright bass note up high, and you can change the formant too. There's a tool, there's the formant tool. So if it doesn't, if dragging it makes it sound weird, you can always fill around with the formant tool and get it to sound more appropriate for that range. There's so much you can do with Melodyne, and it holds up incredibly well. It's by far, in my opinion, the best pitch correction tool because of its transparency. The things I do to vocalists, oh my God, some really good vocalists that record really well and sing very well in tune, but after I'm done with the Melodyne on them, they're like, oh my God, you made me sound like world class. Nowadays, pitch correction, I consider it pretty much part of mixing, just like EQing, compressing, cleaning up noise. Part of the whole thing is pitch correction, but you have to do it with artfully. You have to do it with transparency. So using a tool like Melodyne, not auto-tune or any other like automatic thing, and then do a manual pass and respect the glissandi, the vibratos, the expression, and then sometimes you can get a more human and more natural sounding take by using pitch correction than by not. Let me explain myself. If you don't use pitch correction, it means that person's going to need to sing over and over and over again the same passages until they nail it. And that repetition itself might remove the feeling, the emotion from their original interpretation. So if you let them, be free and interpret the song with emotion, with expression, and take chances, and then fix the little details about the tuning, you end up getting, ironically speaking, you end up getting a more human, but professionally polished result. I have that opinion anyway. Let's continue. I think I want that to be a half step before higher, right? This note is too soft. I wonder if I can change just the volume of it. Can I change the volume of stuff on Melodyne? Make quiet notes louder. I wonder. Oh, it's not letting me. Oh, this might be a function that is only available for a higher tier, perhaps. Oh no, you just have to choose more notes. Let's see if it did it. No, I didn't quite do it. It didn't make that note louder. Oh, right, because I didn't put this up to 100%. Let's see now. There it is. That note that I almost didn't play, suddenly it's louder. Wow, that's interesting. That's another thing I might want to just quantize on Melodyne, you know, make all the quiet notes that I didn't quite nail. Of course, you lose dynamics, same as with a compression, but I don't know, it might be worth it to correct my faulty articulation from lack of practice with this instrument. But so far, I only really needed it there. So let's keep it on the manual, right? If I notice another note that's too soft, I'll apply this volume quantization. Wow, interesting. We have time quantization, pitch quantization, and volume quantization, which is different than compression or automation. Very interesting. Melodyne is amazing. And I'm not even endorsed by them. I'm paying for this license. Ed Random says, I like the vibe. I see a gangster scene where someone's honey is going to make trouble, right? You're right, man. That's totally the vibe here. That's why it's called spy jazz for now. At some point, we're going to go through all these songs and actually name them, folks. It would be nice to have you all help me with that. Okay, let's stop it for a second because there's this note I want it to be here. And notice I'm not using snap to chromatic. I'm using my ear. I think that makes a little bit of a difference too. When I'm doing my fixes, my manual fixes, I'm using my ear to decide when something sounds good enough. Here, maybe a chromatic one here too. This one, I think, should be a whole step. Maybe here. Chromatic down. No, I mean, scalar down, right? That's better, but now it did a scoop up, see? And it doesn't make sense there. So we're going to use a tool called pitch modulation tool. And that's going to linearize the pitch of this one note. If you do it on all the notes, then you get that robotic auto-tune sound. Everything loses its scoops, glissandi, vibrato, etc. But on some notes, you might need it, like right now. I want this note to actually start a tone above, so it doesn't make sense for it to scoop up because the whole motion is the downward one. Still, you still got the boom, so we're gonna mess a little bit more with the modulation. That's better. That's better. Pitch drift tool. Now we're gonna eliminate some more drift. And I want the whole note to be a little bit higher in pitch. Yeah, I think that passes. See, sometimes you go through a whole bunch of the song and it's all fine, and then you spend like a lot of time on a single note. But that's what makes a difference, you know. Maybe that's the one note that would like jump out at people who are listening and make it sound weird. So that's why you got to spend your time there. another blue note that was missing here. Ear training, folks. I can't stress enough how important ear training. That's why I'm pretty good at pitch correcting, because I have ears that are sensitive enough to notice slight imperfections. Right here, for example, we want this one to be chromatic as well. Let's move ahead a little bit more, so we're not wasting time listening to what we've already fixed. There you go. And this one, we want this one half step down too. Now I feel like some notes are a little bit rushed. Right? This note right here is a little bit rushed. So why don't we go to options, time grid, remove the, so make it inactive. We can then go to the zoom tool here and look at this note a little closer. And now we can maybe make a pitch adjustment, not pitch, time adjustment. We'll move it later a tiny bit. Now maybe we need to do that with more than just one note, but yeah, I think it's all three of them. These three notes right here, we can move them slightly forward. Forward visually, backward time-wise, but I think I moved everything, the pitch of everything up as well. We don't want to move the pitch, we just want to move them in time, right? So these three notes that were a little too on top, no, it was really just the first one, folks. Let's go undo that and only move that first one a tiny bit. And that should be enough. I'm gonna just experiment and see what it sounds like. See, that's a big jump. So I don't know if it's gonna sound good there. Let's try it. Yeah, no, it sounds bad. So let's go back to where it was. Just accept that note. It's not bad. Now we're back to the melody. Head out. And here I'm thinking of something arrangement-wise. So this is an A form. So it does this don 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 don. That's A. And it does it again with a slight change. Don 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 don. And then it goes don 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 ba ba da ba boom boom boom. That's A, right? And it goes, and then it does the whole thing again. And then it goes da da ba dum ba. That's the B. I'm thinking at the end, this is a long song already. It's over 5 minutes long, and it only has one solo section, one chorus for the solos. The chorus is a full round of the entire form, right? So another AABA, where it's not playing the melody, it's just walking, where a different instrument would be soloing, maybe the piano, maybe the melodica, maybe the surf guitar. But then at the end, it does the whole AABA again on the bass, and I think it's excessive. So I'm thinking that after the solo, maybe it's just the last A. Maybe we skip the AAB and only do the last A. But, regardless, since I haven't made up my mind completely, I'm going to tune this anyway. I'm going to make sure that the whole AABA form for the end is complete. It's a slow song, too. That's part why I start feeling like it's getting boring. Like we've heard that too many times already, that main melody. I like the vibe. I see the gangster scene. Okay, I'm rereading old comments, so nobody has said anything after Ed Random's "The honey's gonna make trouble" comment. Okay, so I'm gonna continue. We're close to the end of this chore, this task. Right, we're at the last melody, or the head out, as jazz musicians would say. The head is the melody of the song. The head out is the melody that takes us to the end of the song. Right, here we have that blue note again. Let's move forward a bit. Sounding much better, folks, and I think probably good enough. I mean, knowing myself, it's likely that I'll try to do at the end, when the whole arrangement is ready, do a new bass take. Do a new bass take to try to perform it without needing the melodyne. But I might get closer and need less melodyne. But who knows if it's going to be, as far as expression goes, and vibe, if it's going to be better than this one. This one has a really cool vibe. It's just out of tune. And that's easy enough to fix, apparently. And full transparency, I'm doing this in front of everybody, in plain view. So nobody, will think that I'm a bass player who can play in tune yet. I mean, I just got this thing back. I will practice and get better intonation eventually and not need this much pitch correction. But for now, it's not like I'm going to stop. That's another thing. It's like gas. Some people think they need to get that piece of gear before, like gas, let's call it TAS, technique acquisition syndrome, right? Where you think you can't do what you want to do until you're good enough, and you're never good enough. So sometimes it's okay to accept your flaws and fix them in post. And you get the job done. You get, done is better than good. I've heard somebody say that. So the fact that the song is finished, published, and going, doing its thing out in the world is perhaps more important than your own ego of knowing that you were able to perform that flawlessly without any correction. So that's another little pearl of wisdom there, folks. Wow, Ivan Moskvin is saying happy birthday in Spanish, feliz cumpleaños, and he's thanking me for Quinquilharia Samba Punk, folks. That was my band in Brazil literally 20 years ago, I think. Or maybe a little less, like 18 years ago, where I was the crooner. I was the main singer, guitarist, because I can't play bass and sing at the same time. So I hired a bassist, Lucas Martins, amazing bass player. It was a great band. Plinio Romero on the drums, Guilherme Held on guitar, Zé Aurelio on percussion. It was a great band. It was fun times back then. I'm surprised anybody remembers. Thank you, Ivan. Or Ivan. Brasileiro? I don't know. I wonder where he's from. Yeah, if you look for Quinquilharia Samba Punk on YouTube, somebody, not me, uploaded a lot of those old songs where I did covers of rock and roll. Like there's Purple Haze in samba, there's Roxanne in samba, a whole bunch of rock and pop classics done in a samba rock style. That was kind of the vibe of the band. And I was crooning, folks. I was the singer back then. Can you believe that? I've had many lives in these 50 years. Now, sometimes I anticipate some of these last notes, sometimes I don't, and it's a little confusing. So let's see what the drums do. Whatever the drums do, this bass note is going to do it. Skip ahead a little bit. Right. I think that both the bass and both the piano and the drums are not anticipating this note. So let's make the bass not do it either. Yeah, we need this one to be half step lower. Down. Second A. See what I mean? It feels like we've already heard this in the beginning. And then there was a solo, and then it's nice to go back to it at the end, but does it have to be 3 A's, plus the B? A, B, A again? My instincts are telling me that we could make this song more fun and shorter if we just use... But I'm keeping the whole thing, because maybe I performed at the end better than at the beginning. So we're going to compare, and maybe what I'll do is cut the A, B, A from the end of the song and use it in the beginning if I feel like I did a better job. So it's nice for now to treat it like it's gonna stay and decide a little bit later if we're gonna cut the song short at the end or not. There we go. Oh, it was such a good idea to use the piano guide track, folks. I probably should have done that before recording the bass. Then I would have been more in tune, because I would have had a reference as I was playing the initial bass melody. But then I don't know. Then maybe it wouldn't have been as free with my phrasing. It was nice that I was able to be very flexible, elastic, and free with the way I was phrasing these melodies. All right, let's see what we can do about this. I changed the phrase completely to something more like what I meant to play. But I did have to move one note, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 half steps. Let's see how it sounds. Yeah, it's here actually. Yeah, that worked. Okay. La. Nice. chromatic. Yeah, here I might have to cut and paste from elsewhere in the song. I didn't nail them. I didn't nail the phrase here. This whole thing should be down a half step. But yeah, I might have to do a little. I will do that later. Once the melodyne is rendered. And that's another thing. Sometimes I forget. I don't quite render the melodyne right away, and then I try to edit something in that track, in the audio, and I can hear the edit because what's playing back is melodyne. So know that if you want to edit after the melodyne, you have to render, you have to commit your melodyne processing so that you can then start moving things the normal way in Pro Tools edit window. All right. All right, this note again, one of those blue notes. Okay, now here's another discrepancy with the bass. Should I anticipate that note? Should I not? Let's see what the drums are doing. I know the piano is wrong, but the piano is just the guide track, so I'm not gonna worry about that. Well, it does a little ghost note, I think, but it doesn't quite anticipate it, or does it? I'm not sure. I think I need to listen without the piano here. Oh, here the finger snaps are gone. Let's delete all these finger snaps that come at that point. All of these are gone. And I think we're done with tuning this bass, folks. Very cool. And I think that'll be it for today because it is my birthday and my family's all over there at the house, kind of hanging out, uh, waiting to be with me on this special day. But I didn't want to miss out on you guys either. And I think we were able to do a little bit over an hour and 10 minutes or so. So it wasn't too bad. Now, before I go, just in case, we're gonna commit this melodyne track. Right? So, melodyne. Oh, wow. I think look at that. There's a melodyne editor available right here and like docked. Interesting. Okay. Can I close it? How do I close it? I don't want it anymore. Yeah, I gotta check out all these extra cool functions uh, with a Melodyne integration in Pro Tools. I'm sure there's a number of things that would make my life easier. But for now, we're just gonna commit this, and that will render all of the Melodyne pitch correction. Create a new track with that render applied, and it will hide and make inactive the original. So I can still go back to that original Melodyne if I need to. Yeah, that's important and cool thing about Pro Tools is if you're smart about how you're managing things, you can always like step back into different parts of the process and fix things if needed. So it's non-destructive is the name of the game here. Um, right. Bree says, thanks for entertaining us with the stream on your birthday. Enjoy your day. And Hoofjaw says, thanks. Enjoy the rest of your birthday. So yeah, we won't even listen to this song because it's 5 minutes long and a little boring at this point. So we've already heard it. I'm gonna go ahead and just say goodbye. Stay human. Thanks for joining, and I'll see you tomorrow when we will hopefully bring this wonderful ode spy jazz composition of mine to its conclusion. So it's exciting conclusion. Da! We'll probably end with like a suspense chord. We'll add melodica and piano and jazz guitar or more like surf guitar and just give it more vibes, make it more mysterious. Thank you once again, and goodbye.